The security guard. Andy opened the door of the small guardhouse and placed 2 packets of noodles on the table. His partner for that night, Siva, was already inside, buttoning on his security shirt over his white singlet. Both of them exchanged pleasantries while they prepared to take over the next 12 hours guarding the warehouse and the adjourning office building beside it.
Here, Siva, I bought you the noodles you like so much from the coffee shop near my house. Thought that could lift your spirits a bit, huh? You look tired.
Hey, thank you, friend. I did not sleep well today because the neighbors are having renovation. Cannot sleep through the noise, huh?
Siva sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. He hoped to get a quick nap somewhere after midnight during his break when all the workers from the buildings had gone home. He could count on Andy to cover him for a while. He poured himself a steaming cup of coffee from his thermos and looked through the logbook, settling himself on the chair near the small window of the guardhouse. Andy shook his head. He knew what it was like to not have enough rest during the day when there was so much noise going on. Their job needed them to be alert, and they had a responsibility towards the people who had paid them to guard the building. As dusk approached and the sky slowly turned dark, the warehouse grew silent as one by one the workers left for home. It was almost midnight when the lights in the adjourning 2-story office building went dark as the last car left the compound.
Siva, I'm going around the building to check the area. Anything you can just walkie me, okay?
Siva nodded. He had just finished his noodles and was beginning to feel a little sleepy. He got up and stood outside the guardhouse, watching Andy walk towards the warehouse. The chilly night air cleared his head, and he looked towards the quiet road outside the gate. A lone car drove by and sped away, bringing silence to the surrounding area again. A low, eerie howling broke the still air. Siva shivered, looked at his watch, and was about to go back into the guardhouse when he glanced up and saw a young woman standing just outside the locked gate. From his place, he called out to the woman, waving to get her attention.
Miss, are you looking for anyone? This place is closed. No one is here.
The woman continued to stand perfectly still and stared through the gate at the warehouse, ignoring Siva's call to her. Siva was about to go to the gate and tell her to go home when he heard the crackle of his two-way radio from inside the guardhouse. He rushed in and picked up the call.
Siva, are there dogs around the gate area? I heard howling from the back. Are you okay?
I'm okay. Hey, there was a woman outside the gate, She...
Siva stopped in mid-sentence. There was no one at the gate. He swore she was there just a few seconds ago.
Siva, hey, you okay or not? What woman?
Yes, I hear the howling. But there are no dogs in this area. There was a woman at the gate just now. But she is not there anymore.
Andy assured Siva that it was probably nothing, and that the woman might have moved away knowing that she could not enter the premises. Siva agreed and turned his attention to the CCTV screen. The area near the gate was deserted. He reached out for his coffee cup and looked out through the guard window. What he saw shook him badly and made him spill his coffee on his wrist. He winced at the pain and quickly turned to wipe his hands. Swearing softly, he looked up again. The woman was still there. One quick look at the CCTV screen showed an empty gate, but there she stood perfectly still, right outside the gate. Heart racing wildly, Siva reached for his walkie-talkie to communicate with Andy.
Andy! Can you hear me, Andy? Please come down to the guardhouse now! Now!
But there was silence at the other end. Siva looked out the window. The woman who was standing with the gate in front of her was now standing with the gate behind her. She was inside the compound. Siva clutched at his walkie-talkie and glanced at the CCTV. Sure enough, the gate area was empty. How could she enter through the locked gate? It was then when he glanced up and there she stood, right outside the window of the guardhouse. Siva gave a shout of horror at her sudden appearance. Her nearness shocked him as she stared at him with her soulless eyes. How could she move from the gate to the guardhouse within the blink of an eye? Siva had no time to react. He blacked out and slumped against the wall.
Siva, oi, wake up. Hey friend, wake up, what happened here?
He was startled to find Siva slumped against the wall in a sitting position when he came back from his rounds. There was spilled coffee on the table and the walkie-talkie was on the floor lying on its side. Siva gained consciousness not long after.
What happened? Why am I on the floor? Oh, the woman came in. How can she come in? The window.
As he slowly remembered what had happened prior to him fainting against the wall, Siva tried to tell Andy what he saw earlier, but he could not string his sentences legibly.
What woman? You have been telling me about a woman since I made my rounds earlier. There is no woman.
At this point, Andy was getting frustrated because Siva was not making any sense at all. He gave Siva a cup of water and proceeded to clean up the mess on the table. Slowly, as he regained his strength, Siva began to tell Andy his story from the beginning. Andy listened and did not interrupt. He concluded that Siva might be too exhausted from his lack of sleep and was just imagining things. He assured Siva that there was no woman in the area and that he was safe in the guardhouse. As Siva rested at the corner of the room, nursing a fresh cup of coffee, Andy peeked outside the guardhouse window. His mouth fell open and he gripped the window frame tightly, for at that very moment he saw a woman walking slowly towards the locked gate. She then walked through the gate to the other side and disappeared into thin air. From a distance, a low, eerie howling broke the still of the night air. So what do you think? Who was that woman? Were they imagining things?